the really interesting one I thought is how buyers found their agents. So should be some interesting information for everybody. And if you've already pored through this at some length, then I apologize for duplicating it, but I don't suppose most people have. So here we go. Social media. Really interesting is that over 70% of buyers said that they had used social media before buying a home. And the biggest use of it was in buying tips and suggestions from friends, as you can see here, and neighborhood information from friends. But look at the number 3 one here. 42% of them looked at the agent's Facebook page to evaluate the agent before selecting them. I thought that was pretty interesting. Which kind of brings up a question: is everybody wants to maybe look at your Facebook page and think about that. Mm-hmm. So, and then talking about neighborhood lifestyle, neighborhood amenities, home buying information, all that sort of thing. And also another one down there, agents YouTube. So if you have any YouTube videos, those apparently pack a pretty good punch. Kind of interesting. The next one was kind of offers that are being made. I know as a seller, sometimes you think that the person that's giving you an offer, you're the only one they're dealing with. Well, not so. 91% of buyers made offers on other houses. If you add up the top 3 here, 3, 4, and 5 plus offers, 70% of buyers made 3 or more offers on homes before they got a home. It's kind of interesting.
Wow.
I feel like some of my clients are off the chart here, but anyway, maybe it's just pain is stuff I remember. Anyway, I don't think this will come as a big surprise to anybody. The average down payment has been pretty high. Actually, 36% of all sales in the last year have been all cash, which is, I was really surprised how big a chunk that was, 36%. But the average down payment is about 28%, which is pretty substantial. So a lot of money coming out, and some other things. If you dig into the internals of this report, some other things that you'll see is that there's really a pretty high level of optimism on the part of the buying public. 60% of the people surveyed thought that the value of a house would go up in the next year, and 90% thought the value would be going up in 5 years from now. It would be higher. So very positive outlook, and which bodes well for our industry, I think. In terms of the kinds of loans, I'm sure Alan would be interested in this, is the fixed rate loans have predominated over the last 3 years. Have been very high. I don't know.
Absolutely. I'm surprised that number doesn't show 100%.
Yeah, and I don't understand what this other is, the 6% and the 1%. I have no idea what that is, but I mean, you've either got fixed or adjustable.
Maybe it could be maybe loan mods or something. I don't know. Maybe something greater. Maybe somebody was still on the tail end of those option arms, which I doubt. But yeah, I would be. Yeah. I'd like to know what that is myself.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. But anyway, 92, 93% of all loans have been fixed, and that brings us to how they find their buyers. Pretty interesting. This yellow section at the top is the percentage that have found them through the internet. As you can see, it's gotten pretty big. It was a little bigger in 2008 and 2009, and then it went down a little bit, and now it's back up again. In 2014, it was about 68%, I believe, found their agent through the internet. And what's interesting is most of them interviewed more than one before they hooked up with an agent. Used to be that it was a vast preponderance of people just went with the first agent they talked to, which was kind of good for people who get out and talk to a lot of agents. So, to a lot of clients, I mean. So it's kind of interesting. It also points up social media, internet, how important that is for all of us for developing our business. The key points here are 42% check out your Facebook page. So you better have one, and my recommendation would be to look at your Facebook presence from the buyer's eyes. Look yourself up on Facebook and put yourself in a buyer's position and look at your Facebook page with a kind of a real objective look and see what you think it says about you as an agent, how you can serve the client. I think it's would really behoove all of us to do that. 65% of the people found their agent online, so it's becoming more and more important to have an online presence. Another thing that came up, which I didn't have a chart on, but reasons for dissatisfaction with their agent. Slow response was 71%. It's the technology that we have these days with the phones, the email, and the texting and all that has made it so that people expect faster and faster and faster response. They're becoming more and more, less and less patient, I guess, more and more impatient. So the days of getting back to somebody the next day just don't cut it anymore. I think it was over 50% expected immediate response from their agents. I guess they don't expect us to have a life, but it just gives you some idea of how important it is that you get back to people quickly. Another biggie is that they said that the agent didn't communicate with them the way the client wanted them to. Most of them, I think it was about 11%, said they wanted to communicate via telephone, but the agent communicated with 25% of them via telephone, so they weren't listening to what the client wanted. A lot of them wanted text, and what they got was emails and telephone calls. So if they want text, give them text and do it quickly. I guess that's the lesson from this. Does anybody have any questions about that?
Are there any questions?
It's all pretty straightforward, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well let's talk about, we're whizzing through this today. Let's talk about transaction documents. I get a lot of questions about transaction documents, and particularly we went through this quite a bit a few months ago, but particularly about agents representing themselves, either as a listing agent or as the buying agent. And the way the insurance company wrote the description that covers what we need to do was a little confusing, because it was an exception to an exclusion. So it was sort of a double negative, but it meant that you can do it. Most people interpreted it that you can't. Gee, what do I have to do because I know I can't represent myself? Well, you can. Allison James and Matt Crumbaugh were kind enough to go to the extra effort and expense of getting a rider on our E&O policy to allow us to do this. A lot of companies won't allow it. So, but there are a few things that you have to do to make sure that you qualify for coverage. And one of them is you have to disclose that you're a licensee, that you have a real estate agent, that you are a real estate agent. You have to follow the last item on here, all the documents on the checklist. If you just do all the documents on the checklist, you've covered everything you need to cover. But there are a few things that are specifically required by the E&O insurance. Home warranty or a signed waiver of home warranty. By the way, if anybody doesn't have a good home warranty waiver, just send me an email and I'll be happy to send you one. And I believe we have one on Wolf Connect. If we don't, I'll make sure there's one up there. Home inspection or signed waiver, request for repairs or waiver, and every once in a while I get somebody puts on the checklist, well, they didn't want any repairs. Well, all we need is for them to put none on a request for repairs and sign it. That's all you need, and that covers it. And then we need a transfer disclosure statement unless it's a trust or probate sale that's exempt. So in general, if you just keep all the documents on the checklist, that's great. Some of those items that we just talked about, sometimes people have some questions about why do we need those things. If you're not doing one where you have an interest in the property, if you're, you still need to do a home warranty or waiver. You still need to do a home inspection or waiver. You still need to do a request for repairs or waiver. And the reason this is to protect the company and to protect you. I've seen situations where an agent couldn't get a home warranty for the client, and but the client was never offered the opportunity to get their own home warranty, and then the agent ended up buying them a hot water heater very shortly after close of escrow. These kind of things happen, and it's just really good if you can get the client on record that they don't want any repairs, they don't want the home warranty, they don't want the home inspection, despite our suggestion and recommendations to the contrary. Just get them on record and get it in writing, and then everybody knows exactly what everybody decided, and nobody will have any trouble about it. And if the other thing about transaction documents that this is kind of a recurring theme and may sound a little bit like a broken record, is that, you know, in the traditional brokerage office, like where I used to work at Century 21 and at First Team, you come into the office and there's a manager there, and they look through your contracts, and there's somebody. The supposition is that they're supervising what you do. Well, my manager never really knew what I was doing unless I brought something to her attention. But the Bureau of Real Estate requires us to demonstrate that we're supervising our agents, and it's a little bit of a challenge with the business model we have, because we have very experienced, best agents in the business operating pretty much independently from their homes or their own offices. But we have to demonstrate that we're supervising their activities, and the way we do it is that we review their documents online, and we have these kinds of meetings where we talk about legal issues and we talk about contract issues and do some training. And the way that you can really mess that up is if you don't let us look at the contracts until it's too late. The MLS requires agents to have their listings into the MLS within 48 hours of taking the listing. And if you don't have it in there, they'll fine you. They're very, very nasty about it. we think it's reasonable for you to have the documents in SkySlope within the same amount of time. For listings and contracts, you need to have them into SkySlope within 48 hours, and as soon as possible with everything else. If we have audits from the Bureau of Real Estate and somebody has signed a listing in, I just saw one that came in that was signed in March, and it was a short sale, but the listing was signed in March, and it went into the MLS in March, and it wasn't in our system until just recently. That's really a problem. It really makes us look bad with the BRE, and it could really wreak havoc on our company. So we're getting, I'm doing audits now. It takes a lot of time. I have to go through all the listings in the MLS and check them against SkySlope, and you'll be hearing from me if it's not in SkySlope. So just fair warning. Some of you have already heard from me. So please just do us all a favor and get this stuff in so we can review it. Another thing that's a really good thing about it is that I've caught things on listing agreements in particular where people have put down that they're going to pay the seller agrees to pay the broker 1%, and they're going to pay 2.5% to cooperating broker. Well, that means that our agent is going to have to come up with 1.5% out of their pocket for selling the property. So that's not something you want. We've caught some of those things. So please, everybody, word to the wise, please just make sure you get them all in.
Ken, can I just touch base on something to do with that real quick? Also, when I know we have buyers and other agents who call the corporate office looking to get in touch with the listing agent as well. So if everything is in SkySlope as soon as possible, it makes it easier for us to put them in touch with you. So definitely within 48 hours of having the listing, try and get that in there.
Yeah, that's another really good point, Victoria. Thank you, because also I get lots of phone calls from people trying to track down agents, and I don't see it in SkySlope, and then I have to go look through the 7 MLS systems that I belong to to try to find the thing. Yeah. So in terms of other information sources, this is something we usually put up. If you have any questions about the most recent laws, car.org has this. Most recent forms. Everybody be on the lookout. There's going to be a new residential purchase agreement coming out in November. And for general legal updates, this is the place I go. It's Pacific West Attorney John Giardinelli, and this is free. He's got a free newsletter and reports, and he's got a really good analysis on real estate law as it changes. He's a really good guy. And if you have any questions about any of this information, or you need some help with something, please don't hesitate to give me a call or send me an email. I'll be happy to help you, because we want to make sure that we all stay legal and compliant and do the best job we can, particularly for our clients. And so that covers it. I hate hour meetings that last 2 hours, but when you go 25 minutes, I guess I don't know if maybe that's a little too fast. But does anybody have any questions?
I do see one here. Again, if anyone else has any questions, please type those in so we will be able to see them. There is one here. Ken, can you explain the 1.5% out of the agent's pocket?
Oh, yeah. Well, on a listing agreement, the percentage that goes at the top of the listing agreement, it's is the gross commission. Typically, it'd be 5 or 6%. Sometimes agents, not thinking maybe, or maybe they're just inexperienced, will put the percentage that they're supposed to get up at the top rather than the total percentage. Then down below in the contract it says that the broker agrees to pay cooperating brokers a certain percentage. That's the percentage that gets shown in the MLS as a cooperating broker's compensation. So if what you put up at the top thinking that you were just putting what you're supposed to get was 1%, and you put down at the bottom was 2.5% that you're going to pay out, that means we've got 1% coming in and 2.5% going out, which means we lost 1.5% on the deal. If your intention was to get 1%, the number at the top should have been 3.5%, and then we paid 2.5% out to the other broker. Does that make sense? Hopefully.
Let's take a look. Yes, perfect. Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Anybody else?
I got a couple things to add if you're done, Ken.
Yeah, sure.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Just going back, I was just taking some notes. I could do it at the end here. With people getting, offers being competitive and all that, what I do and what most movement mortgage loan officers do is not only do we underwrite the file up front, of course, and not only do we clear the conditions that the underwriter has issued, all that in 7 days, so that loan basically is ready to close, and we are just as competitive as a cash offer. What I do is I call the listing agent, I go over that with them, I send them the conditional approval so they know your buyer is serious. And with that being said, I've had an FHA offer 3.5% down get accepted over a 20% down because they knew I could close in 20 days and everything was already pretty much done. So something else that makes you guys more powerful is that right there that we bring to the table. And also, like Cam was saying in that other slide, that they're interviewing a lot of agents.
Okay, your name?
When you're going on your listing presentations and you present, you have a title guy, you have an escrow guy, and you also have your mortgage advisor, and part of your team is all of these guys, and a free service to you of charge for me listing your house and being your agent. My guy will come in, he will cross-qualify all of the offers that come in, obviously, and make sure that if we do take an offer that they will close. And also he will get you ready to buy because they're going to be buyers as well. And it just looks like you have more of a team and you just look more powerful. So those are the two things I wanted to add.
Oh, that's great.
Great. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, if we don't have any more questions, a couple of things you need to do is check your calendars because, as you may have noticed, something's happening just about every Wednesday, either online or in person. It's not that we are trying to overwhelm you with meetings. A lot of people are at Allison James because they don't particularly like to go to a whole lot of meetings. But we want to make these things available so people that want to mingle with their peers and their colleagues will have an opportunity to do that, and also will have an opportunity to stay up to date with what's going on and new sales ideas and workshops and mixers. If anybody that missed the big open house in Carlsbad this last month missed out on a great party. It was really fun. It was hosted by Movement Mortgage. It was really great, and it was a terrific time. So we also do webinars like this. We have some other webinars that originate from corporate, and really read your emails so you can see what events are going on. And that's it.
And
thanks again, everybody.
I do have one more question here, Ken.
Okay.
Okay. On the listing form, when we are using the SELM form, do you put the date on the listing agreement, the date that you are going to put it on the MLS, or do you put the date that they sign the SELM form?
Well, the date you list the property is the date you sign the listing agreement. Actually, you can sign. I believe you can sign a listing date in advance ahead. The issue that you have, if your question involves how do you keep from having to put it on the MLS, that's another good thing to bring up, is the SELM, which is the Seller Exclude Listing on Media form, which is required if you're not going to put it on the MLS. That form has to be sent to the MLS. You have to give them the form, send them a copy of it, so that they know that it's listed within 48 hours. It doesn't go on the MLS, but the form has to go to them, because otherwise we're in violation. We've signed a listing, and even though we have the seller's approval to exclude it, we have to demonstrate that we have that approval by sending it to the MLS people. So if anybody has any specific questions on that, because it varies a little bit from MLS to MLS, please don't hesitate to give me a call, and we can talk about it.
Perfect.
Okay?
Okay, great. I think that's it. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today.
Yep. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next month.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Have a great week.
Thanks a lot. You too. All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.